nothing else, rotation within the thunderstorm. This was at 6:28, and that is what prompted the Weather Service to issue the tornado warning. I went ahead and cut into programming because this was something, while not quite into our viewing area, certainly if it were to hold together, would be in our viewing area shortly. So this was about now almost 15 minutes ago. As we kind of go forward here, you'll notice a couple of things. One, that little hook is completely gone. Does look like the storm may be moving a little bit more due east than any part of a east-southeasterly component that maybe would keep this storm just to the north of Amite, so possibly the heart of Amite, maybe avoiding the worst part of the storm. I'm going to kind of move my computer out of here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Where you'd have got the community of Hillsdale, that's going to be getting into the more intense rainfall. And if that intense rain holds together, Arcola to Fluker would be getting on that. And then so maybe just staying to the north of Amite, well to the north of Independence, well to the north of Hammond, Ponchatoula. This is not for all of Tangipahoa Parish. But one thing we're going to watch for is if the Weather Service decides to extend this out to possibly include any of Tangipahoa Parish, which would then place it in our viewing market. So looks like, let's see, kind of reading, I apologize if I stop here, I'm reading the discussion. They're going to leave the warning in place for southern St. Helena, Livingston, and then into east and central now. Okay, let's see, okay, there was another severe thunderstorm warning that they're leaving in effect. So as of right now, there are no discussions of extending this into Tangipahoa Parish, which is good. Something we'll continue to watch here for just a little while longer while this storm continues on. But as long as the intensity seems to continue weakening a bit and we're not seeing, or we're no longer seeing that rotation there, which again, as I'd mentioned, did look like it was broadening out a little bit, meaning hopefully weakening, then there may be no need to extend this warning any further toward Tangipahoa Parish. So that would certainly be some good news there. We're going to wait for another couple of scans of the radar before we kind of leave things off here on WWL and continue with our newscast on WPL as well as on WWL Plus. But as we look, again, this is the 6:45, so this is the latest imagery of the velocities. Yeah, you kind of see it more broad in nature. Doesn't look like it's really tightened up at all. And so the last couple of images here into the radar site or into our computers from the radar site does look like maybe this broad rotation is starting to weaken a bit. So the good news is at least the trend appears to be that this is weakening, and you don't even see quite the intensity of the rains. There are still some fairly intense thunderstorms and heavy downpours, still a lot of lightning, but you don't quite see the intensity of what these storms were doing just about 15 minutes ago. So in the last 15 minutes or so, while it is still a fairly intense thunderstorm, it does look like the intensity has come down a bit and looks like it no longer really showing the signs of that tight rotation that we had at one time saw right at about the top of or bottom of the hour, but it looks like maybe more now, more or less kind of a broad circulation. So I would venture to say that while the Weather Service may allow this warning to continue, the tornado warning that is, I think they will not extend it into our viewing area in Tangipahoa Parish. So I think at this point we can safely go off of WWL and just continue on with our newscast on WWL Plus and WPL. But if this were to strengthen a bit, or if the warning were to be placed into Tangipahoa Parish, we will cut into programming here on WWL, but we will continue our newscast on WPL and on WWL Plus.
This has been a severe weather alert from WWL Louisiana, sponsored by Egan Insurance Agents.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson. For the second time in 2 weeks, most of the East Bank of New Orleans is under a boil water advisory. A water main break flooded South Carrollton early this morning. The street reopened a few hours later, but families and businesses are still dealing with the aftermath. Rachel Hanley has been talking to people near the break.
Around 2 o'clock Monday morning, Billy Jo Dalton woke up to her son shouting.
I jumped out of bed because he doesn't do that for no reason. And I jumped into ankle deep water.
The water main